I'm Donald Register, known on the campus of the College of Wooster as Cash, and I graduated in the class of 1959. My major was political science.
I'm Gordon Schull. I happened to come to Worcester the same year Cash did, but I as an instructor in political science. And I've been here on campus ever since.
Hello, and welcome back to another installment of Project 150. 150 stories for the 150th anniversary of the College of Wooster. My name is Sarah Torrio, and in today's episode, we speak with Don Register and Gordon Schull, a retired faculty and alumni who arrived to Worcester in the same year. When Don, also known as Cash, first arrived to campus in 1955, he was the only other black male, and there were also only 2 other black females on campus.
You mentioned Charlie Morrison, who is a barber here in Worcester, and I was involved in an interracial study group or discussion group with him about the time you were here. And he told an interesting story which tells us something about race relations in the United States and in Worcester at that time. Charles wanted to buy a new home. He was maybe 60 years old by that time. And he had saved enough money to buy a home, and he had worked out, looked at a home he wanted to buy, and he made a deal with the owner of the home. But, of course, the deal had to be finalized or worked out with a real estate agent, and Charlie might have worked with her some before he worked with this customer. But when they made their deal to sell and to buy, this real estate agent came to Charlie and said, "Charlie, if you buy that house, I lose my job." So Charlie did not buy that house.
Well, I have an experience that is on the other side. Tom Dingle and I would go down to the barber shop to get our hair cut, and we would go always before 6 o'clock because we had board jobs and we had to be back for those. And one day, one of Charlie's barbers pulled me aside and said, "You know, you and Tom, Charlie won't say anything to you about this, but you and Tom need to come after 6 o'clock because that's when the colored patrons come." And so I spoke to Charlie about it, and he says, No, you come anytime you want. And we did. And I think we began to change at that time the pattern of haircutting in the city of Worcester.
You integrated the city of Worcester.
Well, I don't know about that.
Barbershop.
We changed one pattern, I think, yes.
Right.
One of the things was just trying to learn names. You know, we were there. We were the only 2 African Americans on the team. It was very easy for people to know who we were. The only thing is, if they called our names, they were going to be 50% right, at least, if they weren't 100% right, because they either called me Tom or Don. Except one time, in a track meet, we had the Ohio Conference track meet here in 1956, my freshman year. And I happened to win the 100-yard dash, and Tom was second. But the student who was supposed to select first selected Tom. She didn't know us apart, even though I was ahead of him. And so every time I see Tom, which is about once a year, I ask him for my medal. And he hasn't given it to me yet.
He hasn't, really.
I had pretty good relationships with the students. Mm-hmm. It might have been because Tom and I were football players, and we kind of stood out on the field. I know one time one of the men that was around the team, we played Oberlin the last game of the season, and we had about 3 inches of snow. And he walked into the room and he said, "You guys are going to have to play very well because you're the only ones people are going to see out there today." And we did. We always beat Oberlin.
Didn't President Lowry have a little to do with some of your costs at San Francisco?
He did. You know, I came to Worcester. I thought I was on a scholarship, but after graduating from seminary, about 6 months out, I got 2 payment books. One for bills at the college of funds I'd borrowed for college, and one for funds I'd borrowed for seminary. But in the one winter, my brother-in-law died in Detroit, and I came back for the funeral. And while I was out here, I came by and saw Dr. Lowry, and his office was always open for students and faculty too, I would assume. And before I left, we talked for about 45 minutes, and before I left, he said, before you leave the campus, come back by, I want to see you and say goodbye. So I did. I went back by, and when I walked into his office, he gave me a check made out to the San Francisco Seminary for $1,000, which took care of about a semester and a half of tuition. And that was, I didn't ask him for it. He just gave it. It was made out on a check from the Mellon Bank, and apparently he had there was a fund that he could use to do things like that. And I was one of the recipients.
This episode was written, produced, and edited by Samuel Carlson, Ronnie Wright, and myself. Special thanks to Brett Woodard, Richard Figge, Don Register, and Gordon Schull. All music used is from audioblocks.com. This project is sponsored and supported by the College of Wooster. Thank you very much for tuning in, and until next time.